Imagine a place where the clouds drift below your feet, where ancient rice terraces glow gold under the morning sun. And silence isn't emptiness, it's peace. Welcome to Sapa, Vietnam's mystical mountain escape. My journey to this surreal landscape began not on a mountain, but in the chaos of Hanoi. I boarded an overnight train, hard sleeper, narrow bed, shared cabin. It was noisy, slightly claustrophobic. But it was real. Raw. The kind of travel I love. 8 hours of rocking railways later, I arrived in Lao Cai, the gateway to Sapa. Outside the station, a van driver shouted, "Sapa! Sapa!" I joined a bunch of sleepy-eyed backpackers and locals. 30 winding kilometers ahead. I didn't know it yet. But those next 45 minutes would change everything. As the van climbed higher and higher, the world below vanished into clouds. Literally. We passed cliffside drops with no barriers, hairpin turns that made my heart skip. But the view. Oh, the view. Mountains rolled endlessly like waves. Clouds moved like silk sheets, sliding over peaks. And just like that, Sapa revealed itself. Not with a grand welcome. Not with fanfare. But like a shy friend. Lifting the veil, just enough to let me in. Sapa town is a charming mess. Tiny cafes cling to cliff edges. French-style buildings from colonial times sit beside colorful hill tribe markets. And there's mist. Always mist. You feel like you're in a dream you never want to wake from. I checked into a family-run guest house. My host, a soft-spoken woman named Mai, handed me hot ginger tea and smiled, "You came at the right time. Rice fields are golden now." I believed her. Sapa felt like gold. Not in wealth, but in warmth. You see, what makes Sapa special isn't just its altitude or beauty, it's its people. The Hmong, Dao, and Tay communities live in the surrounding hills, maintaining centuries-old traditions. As I walked through town, I noticed young girls in embroidered jackets chatting on the phone. Ancient meeting modern. In the strangest harmony, that first afternoon, I did nothing touristy. I wandered. Drank strong coffee. Watched clouds roll through narrow alleys. Bought a hand-stitched coin purse from a child who smiled like we'd met in another life. Above me loomed Mount Fansipan, the tallest peak in Indochina. I'd be climbing that soon. But not yet. Sapa teaches you to wait. To slow down. To breathe. And that night, I finally did. As I lay in bed, clouds floated past my window like ghosts with secrets. I wasn't sure if I was still dreaming. Or just living better. Dinner was a warm affair. Local hot pot with strangers who quickly became friends. Stories of lost passports, leech bites, and that one time someone slept through a monsoon. Everyone had a Sapa tale. Now, I had mine. That first night in Sapa, I didn't chase views. I didn't post stories. I just listened. To the wind. The silence. The strange, comforting hum of a town in the clouds. Tomorrow, I would trek into the terraces. Tomorrow, I'd meet the people of the hills. But tonight, I belong to the mist. Next, we leave the town behind. Lace up your boots. The real Sapa is waiting. It was still dark when I left my guest house. The clouds hadn't lifted yet. The town was asleep except for a few dogs, a rooster, and me. I had a backpack, a bottle of water, and a sense of anticipation I hadn't felt in years. Today, I would walk into a painting. My guide was a young Hmong woman named Lead Barefoot, carrying nothing but a cloth sling bag. She looked at my hiking boots, laughed, and said, "Too heavy. Your feet forget to feel the land." She wasn't wrong. The path twisted downhill, leaving the town behind. Within minutes, the concrete faded. And all around me, the world opened like a secret, lush hills, birds darting through the air, water buffaloes lazing by muddy pools. I realized something: Sapa doesn't just invite you to see it. It invites you to walk it. Step by step. Layer by layer. And then I saw them. The rice terraces, thousands of steps carved into the earth like giant fingerprints, sculpted by human hands over centuries. It was the most beautiful architecture I've ever seen, and it wasn't made of steel or glass. It was made of mud, time, and trust in the seasons. The terraces followed the shape of the mountain, curved like a mother's embrace. Every level told a story of planting, harvesting, of joy, of flood, of survival. You could feel it. Some paths were just inches wide, one wrong step and you'd tumble straight into the fields below. I slipped. Twice. Each time, Lee giggled and reached out a hand. "The land tests you," she said. "You must pass with softness." That line stayed with me, pass with softness. Not just for trekking, but for life. By mid-morning, we reached a small village. Wooden houses with tin roofs, chickens running wild, pigs snorting in the shade. Kids followed us with curiosity, laughing, chasing, offering wildflowers like treasures. There were no tour buses here. No shops. Just people. Living. Smiling. I felt like I was walking through someone's childhood dream. Where life is simple. Honest. Grounded. And somehow richer. We sat on the floor for lunch. Lee's family served sticky rice, forest greens, and something that tasted like love boiled over fire. No menu. No price. Just sharing. I tried speaking with hand gestures and a few Vietnamese words. They answered with laughter and more food. That meal was one of the best I've ever had, not because of the taste, but because it felt earned. Walked into. Welcomed into. As we climbed again, the sun came out. The terraces now glowed gold. My boots sank deeper into the muddy ridges, my breath heavier. But I didn't care. Every step took me deeper into a world untouched by algorithms and ads. No Wi-Fi. No signal. No distractions. Just wind, earth, and heartbeat. Lee stopped, picked a leaf, crushed it, and held it under my nose. "For good dreams," she said. It smelled like mint and something ancient. We paused on a ridge. Below us, rice terraces rippled down the valley like a golden waterfall. I asked Lee how many families worked these fields. She said, "All of them. We don't own the mountain. The mountain owns us." It hit me. We talk so much about owning land. But here, people belong to the land. They respect it. Live with it. Not over it. By 3 p.m., the trail started circling back toward Sapa town. My legs were shaking, my socks soaked, and my camera full. But my mind was calm. This trek wasn't about distance or challenge. It was about witnessing, listening, learning how the land speaks. I turned for one last look. And just like that, the clouds closed in again. The valley disappeared. Like a story finished for now. That evening, back in Sapa, I didn't rush to upload anything. I didn't scroll. I didn't edit. I just Saturday remembering the sound of the wind through rice. The laughter of strangers. The hush of hills older than memory. Trekking in Sapa isn't about reaching the end. It's about letting go of everything else. Next, we stay back in the hills. But this time, with the people who've lived here for generations. Welcome to a day with the Hmong. In Sapa, time doesn't move by the clock. It moves by footsteps, weather, and the sound of someone spinning yarn outside a wooden home. After the trek, I wanted to stay back a little longer. Not just in the mountains, but in the lives of those who call these hills home. So today, I spent a day with the Hmong. Link, my guide from yesterday, invited me to stay with her family. Her village was tucked into a valley unreachable by car. We walked again, less intense, more intimate. This wasn't about adventure. This was about connection. I crossed a small stream, ducked under hanging corn, and arrived at their home. A wooden house. Dirt floor. One light bulb. No doors. But the warmth. It filled every corner. Lee introduced me to her grandmother. 82 years old. Fingers like bark. Eyes like fire. She didn't speak English, but we didn't need words. She took my hands, turned them over, and said something in Hmong. Lee translated, "You hold no tools." "You must be from the city," I nodded, sheepishly. She just chuckled and gave me a bundle of dyed thread. "You learned today." They showed me how to weave fabric using a traditional backstrap loom. It looked simple until I tried. Threads tangled. My foot slipped. The pattern looked like spaghetti. Everyone laughed, especially the kids. It wasn't mockery, it was music. It was joy in imperfection. They didn't expect me to be good. They just wanted me to try. Later, Lee took me to the nearby fields. Not for trekking this time, for work. Her sister needed help collecting herbs and edible plants. I tagged along, carrying a woven basket. My city legs ached, but my heart danced. She showed me how to identify wild mint, lemongrass, and something bitter they call mountain tea. I asked if they ever go to the market. She said, "Only for salt. Everything else. The mountain gives, and it's true. The mountain provides. If you know how to listen." By noon, the whole house smelled like ginger and garlic. Lee's mother was cooking. No recipe book. No measurements. Just instinct. I helped wash vegetables, and we all ate together on the floor, using hands, with bowls passed around like stories. The food was humble: sticky rice, boiled greens, grilled tofu, and a soup that reminded me of my childhood. It's strange how flavors can cross cultures like that, how taste can become a bridge. After lunch, I sat with some elders. One of them, a man in his 60s, was carving a bamboo flute. He handed it to me, gestured for me to try. I blew one awkward note. Everyone laughed again. He nodded, took it back, and played a melody that wrapped around the mountains like fog. No concert. No stage. Just a man, his